right, well, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the Get Well Mental Health Series with Inglewood First United Methodist Church, being the Church Long Beach, and MSW candidates from Cal State University Long Beach. My name is Reverend Victor Cyrus Franklin. I have the privilege of serving as the lead pastor of the First United Methodist Church of Inglewood, and we're just excited for the opportunity to come and be a part of this time. So we're going to move very quickly as we're so elated for our leaders for today from the Tree Yoga Cooperative of Los Angeles. And so we'll move quickly into our time of learning what it means to breathe intentionally, breathe deeply in this season and in this time. But as we prepare, I just want to begin talking just a little bit about why breathing, why is that important? And what does that have to do with the church? Like, why would a church host something like this, host an opportunity like this? And so as we look into the time and as we look into the scripture that can help us ground that time. The scripture here is from Luke chapter 23, verses 44 through 47. And it reads very simply this way. It was now about noon, and darkness came over the whole land until 3 p.m. While the sun's light failed and the curtain of the temple was torn in two, then Jesus, crying out with a loud voice, said, "Father God, Mother God, into your hands I commend my spirit." Having said this, he breathed his last. When the centurion, the soldier, saw what had taken place, he praised God and said, "Certainly this man was innocent." So for those of us who are in the church world, we're entering into Holy Week. Tomorrow is Palm Sunday, and the Jewish tradition Passover has begun. And so on Palm Sunday, we remember Jesus entering into Jerusalem. The triumphal entry is what we call it, claiming lordship and liberation for his people. The crowds shout, "Hosanna, blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord." And so we say this, but we don't understand the political connections of what is meant by this phrase and what this says. So the people shouting, "Blessed is the King who comes in the name of the Lord," is a defiant act. Caesar, the ruler of the Roman Empire, was supposed to be Lord. Herod, who was his subordinate, was claimed to be king of the Jews. And so it could not be a poor Afro-Palestinian Jew from Nazareth. That could not be the one who has come to lead the people. And so the celebration on Sunday, on tomorrow, turns into a crucifixion by Friday. The awakening of the people was met with a warning. Do not defy the empire or you'll meet your demise. And so like Jesus, we're fighting to save our lives. We're fighting to save our lives in a world that literally wants to take our breath away. And so whether we're talking about Eric Garner, Breonna Taylor, George Floyd, Sandra Bland, here in LA area, Dijon Kizzee, Andres Guardado, we are literally fighting to breathe, fighting for our lives in a world that wants to take our breath away. And so with all the pressures, the stresses, and the violence that we are under, breathing intentionally, it's not just restful, but it's revolutionary. And so what we see from Jesus is him breathing intentionally in the midst of the violence that he's undergoing, saying, "Father, Mother God, into your hands I commend my spirit." Then breathing his last. Jesus' words are not in defeat, but they're in defiance. They're saying, "My breath does not belong to you who are trying to crucify me. My breath is divine. It belongs to me, and it belongs to God." And so in this time is us gathering together to learn to breathe deeply, to learn to breathe intentionally as a revolutionary act in a world that is trying to take our breath away. And so we are, again, elated for the leadership of the Tree Yoga Cooperative in the community, Los Angeles and Inglewood area. And we just look forward to what we'll gain from this time so that we can build strong breathing, strong breath, strong life, to live in strong in mind, body, and spirit, and as we go forward. And so with that, I'd like to pass the microphone, turn the mic, if you will, to our leaders from the Master's Social Work Department, candidates from California State University, Long Beach. They came to us to pitch an opportunity to share in this experience of mental health in our community, in addition to Reverend Melinda Teeter Dodge, who is clergy who serves the Being the Church Long Beach movement, which is a cooperative of churches in the area, leading primarily through the ministry of yoga, right, and deep breathing and practice and meditation. And so we thank them for their leadership. So I'll turn it over to Francis Roberts, who is one of the candidates from Cal State Long Beach, and just take it away. Thank you so much. Let's give it up. Artificial virtual hand claps, whatever, snapping fingers. Let's do what we can. Thank you, Francis.
Thank you. Well, first, just hello. Thank you all again for being here with us today. I can honestly say it's been a real joy to participate in these mental health rallies with all of you. And I'd like to take a second just to introduce my team. Again, we're MSW candidates from Cal State Long Beach. I have Kelly here, and Julia, and Ashley, and I'm Francis. We also have Joel and Eva who could be here with us today. We have just been so grateful to have been able to partner and collaborate with both Reverend Cyrus Franklin and Reverend Dodge, and also with the Tree Yoga Cooperative to create this mental health series. And finally, I'd like to present our wonderful speakers today on breathing and breath work. We have Jenny and Rita of the Tree Yoga Cooperative. Thank you.
So thank you, Reverend, and thank you, Francis, for having us and for this new partnership. Today's event, our Freedom Through Breath. Myself and Rita are part of the Tree Yoga Cooperative. We are based in South Central Los Angeles. We were a nonprofit for 8 years, serving in South LA, providing yoga and meditation classes by donation. And I would say our biggest impact in the community has been training over 150 practitioners of color in the community to help us continuing sharing this practice. And so myself and Rita are here today on behalf of the other cooperative owners. But during the pandemic, we actually lost our physical location of our studio where we were at for 8 years. And we have yet continued to stay busy in sharing these practices with all of our community partnerships. So today is just another new opportunity for us to continue serving even without having a physical location. So we're really grateful for this. And so just so that you get to know the other worker owners, like I said, we were a nonprofit. Now we are a worker-owned cooperative, which means that the four of us that you see on the screen right now we're leaders in the nonprofit and also in the community. And we came together to continue this work. And a worker-owned cooperative is like a whole other workshop if any of you are interested in that. But each of us bring our own skill sets to our business, and each of us contribute in different ways to the business and what we have to offer, and in collaboration with all of our partners. So Jonay and Jana aren't able to reach us today because, like I said, they are training more community members to become yoga instructors. And so that is what they're doing right now. And so they are here with us in spirit, and we're really excited for this new partnership to happen. So myself, I will be sharing some breathing techniques with you, and Rita, who's also here, will be sharing a little bit more. And so myself and Rita are the bilingual yoga instructors in English and Spanish, and actually Jana as well. And then Jonay has just been an OG since the beginning of our studio back in 2013. So they all have their own unique stories, and I hope that if we're continuing this partnership, you all get to know each of us a little bit more. So that's just very shortly who we are. And let's go ahead and continue. So go ahead, and Rita, you can take it.
Thanks, Jenny. So hi, thank you all for having us today. And I find it very heartwarming, interesting, this breath work that Reverend Victor is offering, and that the whole team came up with. Because when we think about it, it's like, what are you talking about breath work? We breathe every day, and it's something that we automatically do that we don't have to think about. So it's that breathing with intention that we want to focus on today. So what is breath work, and why is it important? Just because of that, because we do it every day, and we are not intentional of it. We are just unaware that we're breathing. And I'm sure that sometimes you guys have maybe been in a situation where all of a sudden you're like hyperventilating, gasping for air. And those are the times where, at least for me, I have noticed the change when I practice my pranayama, my breath work. So I'll go through a couple of things about why it's important. It's the first thing we do in our lives. You know, out of the womb, we take a deep breath. We're here. It's the one thing that we are constant with, and without breath, there is no life. Pranayama, it's an ancient language, pranayama. It's in Sanskrit. It's one of the most ancient languages in the Eastern world, and it means life force. It literally translates to life force. So pranayama is a type of breathing exercise, and there's a bunch of different kinds. You're going to get to try two of those out with me and Jenny today. It does a lot of things. Once you make this breath intentional, it can reduce daily stress, reduce tension, reduce that what it's not clear in front of us. Like sometimes we'll be walking in a fog all day, you know, sometimes weeks, sometimes for long periods of time. So if we practice breath work consistently, these are some of the things that it can alleviate. And again, with the pranayama exercises, they can do a bunch of different things for us. There are a couple of things that we have to watch out for if you have certain health conditions, but overall, these exercises can help you do anything from feeling more energized to detoxifying your body to just feeling relaxed. And so you're going to get to experience those some of those things today with our breath work. So yeah, breath work, we just need to practice on the intention of what that is. And then we'll move on to our next slide. Okay, perfect.
Okay.
Calms the mind and centers the mind. And hopefully with these couple of exercises that you'll do with us today, you'll get to experience that if you keep it consistent, you know, maybe even over the next few weeks or next 7 days, just try to do it 10, 15 minutes a day. One thing that we always tend to do too is that our minds are going, you know, 100 miles a minute because we have so many things to do, things at home, things at work, and then stuff that's happened in the past creeps in and kind of just drags you away from the present, or things that you know you have to do later on, maybe even big things that you have for the future, goals that you're trying to achieve. They kind of creep in and they like, you know, just like take you away from this very moment, like this very next second, this very next breath. So that's what pranayama helps you with. You know, it just helps you like snap back into the present and get you centered and just be right here. There's a lot of therapeutic things that happen when you do breath work. It helps with your circulatory and respiratory symptoms. And I feel like that's just kind of a given. If you think about practicing to breathe, you know, your lungs expand, you get more oxygen in there. In turn, it helps your circulatory system, you get all that oxygen in your blood. So that's just all a plus. Helps your physical system overall. You know, we can look at that through a more scientific method, but I think that pretty much sums it up. And it helps harmonize your left and right hemisphere of the brain. So if you start practicing, you'll notice these subtle differences within yourself. I'm telling you, I don't know, maybe within a couple of days after being consistent in your practice. It's also helpful with our parasympathetic system that always like tongue ties me. So it like helps with countering the overstimulation of our bodies when they go through the flight or fight response. And I'm sure you guys have probably done that in your life too, where you don't know, you know, in certain situations, you just get agitated. You're not sure whether you should fight or flight. So this helps you, these breathing techniques help you with the overstimulation of that. And then we're gonna continue to actually do this practice. So Jenny has a practice that she's gonna lead us with, and she'll go ahead and present it.
Yeah. I wanted to even just build off that last point you were sharing, Rita, that because of maybe even the environment that we're living in, we might actually just be sitting on our couch at home and we feel like why do I feel restless? And it's like your body's experiencing fight or flight response, even though you're at home, you're safe. And so it's this overstimulation of outside factors that are contributing to us feeling uneasy. And sometimes it's not even our external world, it's our internal world of just having so much on our mind. And so learning how to use our breathing can help us tap into like, how can I just calm down? Like I ate food, I slept enough today. Like what's going on in my own body that like I feel like I'm thinking about all these things that I need to do this week. I'm worried about that. Or, you know, something didn't happen right. I'm feeling like regretful of something that happened in the past. And so you're trying to rest and be present and your body is just like not sure what to do. It's not in the parasympathetic system where we rest and digest. And so I just wanted to emphasize that because as we mentioned, there's two different styles of breathing techniques that can help us with like detoxing and then there's the ones that are more like balancing and relaxing. And so today I will be actually sharing something that's more of the relaxing and the balancing. So alternate nostril breathing, its intention is actually about bringing balance into the body and the mind. And what it's doing is it's helping us, sorry, I'm just making sure I'm good. Okay. That we're bringing balance in how maybe we're extroverted or introverted, balance in our feminine and in our masculine energy. And so and many more ways that you can think about balance internally inside this internal world and universe we carry inside of us with all these body systems doing so much work with us just like sitting exactly where we're at right now without exerting effort. So much is going on. And so this technique, alternate nostril breathing, and Rita mentioned earlier that pranayama is in Sanskrit, so it's ancient language in India. And so Nadi Shodhana is actually what is translated from alternate nostril breathing. So just so you know what that is. And so today I'm going to invite you all to sit wherever you're at that you feel comfortable. You don't need to sit cross-legged on the floor. You can sit in a chair. You can sit with your legs out. So go ahead and find a place for yourself to get situated. And so with alternate nostril breathing, we use our right hand. And you can use your left if you like, but we like to, we think of the right hand being associated with giving and the left hand being associated with receiving. And there's like so much more if you're interested in these studies of like what do the fingers mean and what do like the energies in our hands and the meridians and all that, but feel free to use whichever hand you feel most comfortable with. And with your hand, we're gonna put the middle finger and the ring finger down. Actually, sorry, the index finger and the middle finger down. So you'll have your thumb and these last two fingers up. And some people are really good at keeping them together. I'm not, you'll see like, and it's fine. You don't have to keep them together. So we'll be using our thumb and our ring finger to cover each nostril, okay? And so with this breathing technique and with any breathing technique we do, we always want it to feel like light and soft and soothing. We don't want to feel like it's exerting or we're putting a lot of pressure into a deep inhale and like a deep exhale, because then we start creating other little tensions in the body with like, so I invite us to just notice what it feels like to have a light breath, right? Like on those inhalations and on those exhalations. And we're breathing from our bellies. So, you know, I know we imagine like with our lungs, like, oh, all the breathing is done in our chest. But if we take a moment to put our hands on our belly and just take a deep breath in, and then you take the deep exhale, do you feel that expansion in your belly? Because that's what we're trying to do. We're trying to feel that expansion here. So I do see a question, can we lay down to do this practice, or is sitting the best posture? So for this one, I would encourage sitting, and you could try it laying down. So usually with these breathing techniques, at least for this one, we're preparing ourselves for, like, if you wanted to do a meditation practice after, or if you are wanting to do prayer after. So it's like whatever is in your practice. And so it is kind of like bringing in this calm energy. But, you know, I'd be interested to hear if that's what you feel comfortable, like how you feel lying down. Because when we are seated, we're allowing like this flow of like the air, like the way that we're seated, to travel easily through the lungs. And sometimes lying down, you can find that flow as well. So let me know. I'm not going to say there's a right or wrong here for how to do this one. Okay. And I'm sorry, your name is kind of far away, but I was able to read the comment. So yeah, so let's practice breathing from our bellies, and we'll be using our right hand or left hand. We'll be putting the index finger and the middle finger down. So the last two are up and then the thumb is up. And when we're doing this alternate nostril breathing, we're using the thumb to cover like the right side, and then we're using the ring finger to cover the left nostril. And when I mean cover, we're just touching. We're not like pressing hard. It's just like to help us like know that, okay, I'm covering my right nostril because I'm breathing from the left. And then I'm covering the left because I'm breathing in and out through the right. So it's just to kind of help guide us through that. So it's not rough. It's just very light touching and covering. All right. And I do want to remind you that, like, even with any technique that me and Rita are sharing today, that if you're like, oh, I'm not getting it, it feels funny, you know, just breathe in and out, and then join us on the next rotation of the breath. And then if it feels unnatural or uncomfortable, please just take a moment and just keep breathing with us. Before we even started this class together, you were already breathing. So these are just breathing practices and breathing techniques. And again, it's a practice. So it's like you can build on your practice a little bit more each time. So that's just my little, like, let's get started. Find your comfortable way to sit down. And if you are sitting down, then like, let's sit up tall. And we're gonna bring our right hand up and just take a deep inhale with both nostrils. And then slowly breathe out. And then we'll start covering our right nostril. Take a deep inhale in through the left. Cover your left nostril with the ring finger and slowly exhale out the right nostril. Take a deep inhale through the right. Cover the right with your thumb and release the ring finger on the left to slowly exhale out the left. Deep inhale on the left. We cover the left nostril and slowly exhale out the right. Deep inhale on the right. We cover the right nostril and slowly release out the left. Slow, deep inhale on the left. Covering the left, we release on the right. Slow, deep inhale on the right. We cover the right nostril, release on the left. Breathe in on the left. Cover the left, release on the right. Deep inhale on the right. Cover the right, release on the left. I'm going to invite you to soften your eyes or close your eyes if you feel comfortable as we continue. Deep inhale on the left. Cover the left, release on the right. Deep inhale on the right. We cover the right, release on the left. Deep inhale on the left. Cover the left, release on the right. Deep inhale on the right. Cover the right, release on the left. Slow, deep inhale on the left. We cover the left, slow, deep exhale on the right. Slow, deep inhale on the right, softening our forehead. Cover the right, release on the left. Deep inhale on the left. Cover the left, release on the right, softening our face. Deep inhale on the right. We cover the right, slowly release on the left. Deep inhale on the left. We cover the left, release on the right. Slow, deep inhale on the right. We cover the right, release on the left. Just a few more rounds here. Deep inhale on the left. Cover the left, release on the right. Deep inhale on the right. And slowly release on the left. Deep inhale on the left. Cover the left, release on the right. Deep inhale on the right. Cover the right, release on the left. Deep inhale on the left. Cover the left and slowly exhale out both nostrils. And just keep breathing naturally through both nostrils, keeping the breath light. Slowly exhale. Slow, deep inhale. And slow, deep exhale. And maybe on these next few exhales, we breathe out through the mouth. So deep inhale in through the nose. Exhale, release out the mouth. Deep inhale. Exhale, release. Deep inhale. And slow, deep exhale. So if your eyes are closed, I'm going to invite us to rub our hands together. Build some heat. And then slowly cut both hands over our eyes. We can start to slowly blink our eyes open, allow some space between the hands. And then release the hands. You can allow the light and colors to enter. So sometimes we feel a little sleepy or like energized after these practices, depending how long we go. And remember, this is a practice, and something I like to visualize before I hand it off to Rita to share another practice is that like every inhale, I'm inviting patience and compassion into this practice so that I'm not in my head telling myself, I didn't do it right, or I was off, or all these judgments of what it means to do something right. And on each exhale, I'm just letting go of all the thoughts or anything going on that doesn't serve me. It just doesn't serve me. It's not helping me. They're distractions. And so I invite you, as we continue practicing another technique, that we're just very patient and holding ourselves with like tenderness and so much compassion, because this is maybe new to a lot of us, or it might be something that we're just building on as a group. So Thank you for allowing me to guide you in our alternate nostril breathing. I'm going to hand it off to Rita to share another practice with all of you.
Thanks, Jenny. And I see there's a question, how many rounds is good for this exercise? So, I mean, I feel like in your initial practice, you know, try like either a time limit, like say, I'm going to do this for 5 minutes, and then just increase it. Maybe, you know, in a couple of days, do it 10 minutes. And then depending on how you feel, however long you want to go. So it's not really about like how many rounds, it's more about how long you can sustain it on a time.
Yes. And I do want to add to that too. Today I didn't count like an inhale or an exhale, but sometimes people will build up on how long you can take a deep inhale. Like some of us might only be like 4 or 5 seconds. Some people might be able to take a deep inhale for 10 seconds and then you exhale 10 seconds out. So if I'm taking a deep inhale for 1, 2, 3, 4, and then I'm exhaling for 4, 3, 2, 1. So as this feels more comfortable and natural, you can build out the length of that inhale and exhale. And then there's also like another style of after each inhale, you hold it and then you exhale and you hold it and then you take another deep inhale. And so that's as you start exploring a little bit more. And then as far as what Rita said, like how many rounds, yeah, maybe you just put a timer for 5 minutes, you do 10 rounds of each side. But you build up a little bit each time. So that's all I will say, because I do want us to practice this cooling down technique that Rita has for us. But thank you, that was a great question.
Yeah, that is a great question. And you'll eventually see it in your practice. You'll get like bigger breaths and take longer inhales and exhales. So I like this cooling down technique. We were talking about it, me and Jen, earlier. And, you know, sometimes there's just stuff that seems weird, or you're like, what do you mean? Like, do it like this or do it like that. This is a technique to cool down. And so, you know, when we talk about cooling down, we're talking about both. We're talking about literal temperature, so that when you are agitated, angry, you're anxious, or for whatever reason, maybe it's just a hot day, and you know, there's that saying, when people see you agitated or something, like, hey, like cool down. So this is what I relate to when I'm like, okay, I'm anxious. I'm like, I need to do something, or like I just, for whatever reason, I got angry. Hot flashes, yes, this should work for hot flashes as well. And there's always guideline to these different pranayama practices, because, you know, depending on your on any kind of health condition that you might have, for example, people with diabetes, high blood pressure, there's certain things that they should and shouldn't do. So this cooling down technique can definitely be done by people with high blood pressure. Pregnant people are okay to do with this. It's to cool down. Even if you're like sick and have a fever, you can use this technique to cool down. It's also very rejuvenating. So you'll feel kind of like, oh, you know, I woke up, now I can, you know, go do something. And yeah, so there's 2 techniques. They're both for cooling down. It's Chitlali and Sitkari. So the first one, Chitlali, is gonna be, bear with me guys, even though it seems weird, these techniques are pretty amazing. So I want you to, again, make sure that you're comfy. Make sure that your spine nice and straight, your heart is open. Taking a deep breath. We're gonna roll our tongues. And I know sometimes that's like, people can't do it, or like, you know, for whatever reason, it's just a little bit difficult. So this is what we're gonna do. We're gonna roll our tongue and kind of stick it out our mouth. Just like that. Okay. We're gonna inhale with our tongues rolled. And exhale out our nose. Yeah, I see you sticking your tongue out at me, Jenny. All right, guys, that's the breathing technique. So we're going to inhale, tongue rolled, and we're going to try to make sure that our inhales and exhales are equally timed. So like Jenny was saying, maybe count to 3 on the inhale, pause, and then count to 3 on the exhale. So we're going to start this, okay? All right, when you guys are ready, rolling the tongue and inhale. All right, you guys got this. Keep going. Inhale, roll tongue. Exhale out the nose. 2 more times. All right, slowly stop. Let me know how that felt. Another cooling down exercise, very similar. This time, this is the fun part that Jenny loved. So even in this practice, we find some things, kind of weird, but they work. So when you're ready, we're gonna bare our teeth, right? And we're gonna breathe through our teeth and exhale out our nose. Pretty much similar to what we did with our rolled tongues. So when you're ready, bare your teeth and inhale. Exhale out the nose. Inhale, teeth. Exhale, nose. Good. We'll do 2 more rounds, guys. And back to your normal breath. So hopefully this kind of invigorated you, tongue-tied, oh my God. And you feel a little bit more awake, maybe a little bit more cooled down. Like I said, these practices are for you to try on a consistent level. So maybe 5 minutes today, later on, and then just 5 minutes for 4 more days. Increase that until you feel those subtle differences. And you guys can always contact us if you have any questions, if you want to know anything more about this pranayama practice. But thank you for practicing with us. And yeah, we're looking at your chat. Oh, wow. So there you go. Your temperature went down a couple degrees. Yeah, almost a whole degree. Awesome. So yay. Thank you guys so much for practicing with us.
Thank you. And I'm going to hand it back to Reverend Victor. I'm so sorry we went over time. There's just so much to share and we get so excited. And yeah, so I would love to hear how it went for more of you in our next part of the programming. So we'll hand it off from here.
Yeah.
Oh, it's all good. Thank you so much. This was great. This was brilliant. I mean, especially even myself as one who recently got the vaccine and dealing with symptoms related to that. I mean, these are practices that are helpful for people who may have dealt with an infection, right? And need to, what are ways of practicing breathing. But those of us who are just managed, so this was really good. So we're going to do some breakout groups for 5 minutes. Somebody say 5 minutes. I know, I heard you say it, even though you're on mute right now. We're going to do breakouts for 5 minutes. And Reverend Dodge is going to help us assign groups. We have breakout questions that we want everyone to consider during our time of reflection. What challenges affect your ability to practice breath work based on what we've been exposed to? What breathing techniques have worked for you in the past to relax? And from what you've learned today, what do you feel you can apply to your own life to practice breath work? Okay, so those are our 3 questions that we have for our breakout. So just again, we're going to break out in groups of 3 and 4 persons. And if you don't mind, Rita and Jenny, you all maybe put in a group as well. You may want to hear some folks who may want to do some more follow-up, inside of our time, in addition to the MSW candidates from Cal State Long Beach. So we're going to start those breakouts, and Reverend Dodge is going to help us facilitate that. And we'll come back and have some large group discussions, see one another. We get to see our faces, right? Ask some questions verbally and fill out our post survey. So with that, we'll...
All right, here we go. The divinity lives within, and we're reminded at the first and the last that the breath of God is with us. Let us be in prayer. Holy gracious God, thank you for this gathering. Thank you for our leaderships in place. Holy God, thank you for Rita and Jenny leading us today and their good work in the Tree Yoga. Thank you, God, so much for the beach students who have led with energy and vitality, led these workshops. God, grant us wellness, both physical and mental and spiritual wellness, and help us, God, as a community to both take care of ourselves and to kindly reach out and to gently and humbly work to take care of all your persons, of all creation. God, remind us that within us we hold the breath of life. We hold the divine. Help us go forth with that in mind. God, bless us and bless our work. In your name we pray. Amen.